party here in Rockwall, Texas, outside the suburb of Dallas. And we get together, try to, at any rate, every Memorial Weekend at some city throughout the United States. We have people here from the classes of 1970 all the way up to the class of 1989.
We're here to commemorate the closing of the base in Heidelberg where we all went to high school. This is an all-years reunion, so anybody who went to the high school is welcome to come to a Heidelberg reunion.
I'm looking forward to dancing on tables and singing German beer drinking songs and kicking it back with my buddies.
Yep, me too.
That's why we reinforced the picnic tables this afternoon. We worked really hard to do that because we know what's going to happen tonight. We've done this before and we're experienced. Do not attempt to do this at home. These are trained professionals.
Why are you guys here tonight? Why is this important to you?
The drinks are free.
Well, as I said before, I'm here to get really, really drunk because it's free beer. But in all seriousness, here to celebrate what we call the all-years reunion of Heidelberg High School.
We're having a reunion for all Heidelberg graduating years to celebrate the place that we grew up as Army brats. In Europe during the time of the Iron Curtain and the closing of our high school, which opened in 1946. It's the 5th largest Department of Defense school outside the United States. Closes this year through some base alignment and reorganizations. And we're celebrating those times and having a little memorial for the school because it's closing.
This is the Heidelberg High School, American High School reunion. Celebrate our school's closing down this year, and we're getting together to celebrate our high school, our American high school in Germany.
Heidelberg High School was one of the 5 original schools that were set up by Dodds after World War II. And of the 5 original schools, only 2 remain. Heidelberg was one. Now, with the demise of Heidelberg, there's only one left, and that happens to be in the Far East.
Yes, it is important that we gather to honor the closing of our school. But it's also important that many of us have not seen each other for a really, really long time because you know, the miles have separated us as well as time, and it's just great to bring together old friends and make new friends out of old faces.
Well, it's, you know, like I said, it's a family environment. We have to stick together, you know. In high school, we used to have bomb scares, and bombs went off at our base, and people in the United States didn't understand that. Like, you just have to stick together and help each other out, and that's what we've always done.
And going to school in Heidelberg was a magical place. There was the castle there and a lot of history, and we had Europe at our doorstep, and we took full advantage of it. It was wonderful to do that with all these wonderful people.
This is a special group of people.
A lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, it's
that we have the connection, the experiences.
I didn't even, yeah.
Military service. Yeah.
It's kind of like a little fraternity in a way. And no matter what years you went to Heidelberg, because we're brats, you know, our dads served in the United States military, and many of us went on to serve in the military as well, by the way. But because of that, even though we've come in and out, and some of us don't even know each other, we have that common bond of being a military brat, a particularly military brat that was stationed overseas, where, you know, you're being an American, you're representing your country with everything you do, and people judge our country sometimes on how we'd like to think that we were good ambassadors to the United States when we were living in Germany as dependents of our dads who were serving there.
And I think our military experience, it's taught us to embrace diversity, and we accept other cultures and races and religions.
And the ability to change.
Yes, and adapt. We adapt.
There was no colors. There was no blacks, there was no whites, there was no Asians, there wasn't any Muslims, there wasn't Christians or Episcopalians. It was a group of kids that came together by the sheer nature of our parents, and we had to get along. And I got to tell you, when you get through that adversity, those relationships last a lifetime. And the craziest thing is, you may not see these people for 5 years from now, but you pick up exactly where you left off the last time you saw them.
I think it's a common bond that we all have. And that common bond being that, when we were living together and growing up as adolescents, we were foreigners in a different country. We grew up, we bonded together, and we were able to see the uniqueness in the opportunities that we had to better ourselves and also to experience a different culture. So our cultural experiences were vast, and we all are very thankful for that.
We were Americans, somewhat isolated from the United States. We're in Germany, and so we lived together in the bases there in Germany during the Cold War. And so I think one of the things that bond us together is that being Americans in Germany, we were somewhat a little bit isolated, so it made us bond together very tightly. Our school was a focal point. Teen club was a focal point. Of course, family and all those kind of things. But that was a very, it kind of intensifies your togetherness, if you will.
Memories at the castle,
Yeah.
all the graduations, the proms that we all went to.
Yeah, how many people get to graduate and have prom in a castle?
Those
So
are my memories.
We all came from different places.
Yes, we did.
We all came from completely different places, and we're all at this cool school in a beautiful town in Germany.
Beautiful.
And we know we can all meet in the second floor lobby.
Yeah.
And it'll all be good. We'll have our jeans on.
We
our
have the teen
Adidas.
club on the weekends.
Everyone will be there. The family will be there.
And I don't think anybody can relate to this unless you live it. And once you've lived it, it's like being part of a special club. You can't join. So in that sense, I got friends in there that I've known probably since I was in 7th grade. So yeah, it's special to me.
I didn't even graduate from Heidelberg High. I graduated from a school in the U.S. and I don't go to their reunions. I go to these reunions because I really don't have that bond like I do. Lori and I were cheerleaders together, and we didn't talk for 25, 30 years. And when I saw her again in Dallas for the first time, it was like no time had passed. So
Yeah, picked right up where we left
Yeah.
off in 10th grade.
yeah, well, ninth grade, yeah.
And we actually looked for Debbie for 32 years. When we graduated from high school, we did not have email, we didn't have text messaging. If we stayed in contact with people and we were living in Germany, everybody went stateside to a different state to go to college. We had no way to keep in contact other than writing letters. And so
Cass knew where I was the whole time.
after a few years of writing letters, you sort of lose contact. People move on, they get married, they get a new name. You can't find them. Sandy and I looked for Debbie literally for 32 years. And then because of Facebook, a friend of ours posted that he had seen Debbie in New Hampshire. And I instantly messaged Ken Cass, okay, where's Debbie? Sandy and I have been looking for her for 32 years. And he gave me her email address. I sent her an email on the spot. She picked up the phone and she called me. And now we have all.
And we picked up like there wasn't a day.
I mean, it was like there was like no day had passed.
And you get to see us pick up right where we left off. Yeah. It ain't no goodbyes. It's I'll see you later. And some people say that's just a saying, but it's not. It's us.
Yeah, it's not. It's right after. It can be next week. We could do it again. We can move back to the same town and be just as happier than we are where we live. It's kind of weird. It's because it doesn't make any sense when you think about it. We got friends, probably both of us, where we live at that grew up next to the same people their whole lives. They live in the same town, go to the same church, and they're not as close as we are, but they know each other. They can tell you all about what's going on in everybody else's business. But right? But me and you, baby, it's friends. You call me, I'm gonna come.
I'm confident that if something happened and I was in San Diego or I was in Tacoma or wherever I was and I needed help, I could pick up the phone and call anybody that remotely went to Heidelberg and that whether how close we were or not, and they'd help me out.
This is one of many. This is one of many to come. I'll be 80 if I can get my kids to bring me or get me out of the nursery home. I'll show up.
Oh, I love that. Yep. I mean, Heidelberg is right here. Wherever I go, it's right here.
There.
It's right there.
There it is, right there.
This is Heidelberg High.
That's it, man.
Right here.
We come out here because the Heidelberg people are our family. We've all stayed in touch.
We consider Heidelberg our hometown.
Yeah, that's where our roots are. Yeah. It's where we grew up. And it's just a big part of our family and our hearts.
Yeah. Ich habe mein Herz in Heidelberg verloren. We left our hearts in Heidelberg.
Well, the Woodards were a fabulous family anyway, and they were 3 brothers and a little girl, and we all felt close to them anyway.
Quite emotional and sad.
Talking about who's always involved. Here she is.
Oh my God. Mrs. Woodard, Mom! Mom!
I mean, what are they doing?
I know. Talking about us.
Oh, I want to see it then.
And you know, Mrs. Woodard, she organized a program at the Officers Club. It's called Student Workers in Free Time.
Oh,
and
did you do that?
Swift
program.
It's called the Swift program.
We were Swift workers.
Sandy and I were both workers.
Okay,
and it was an opportunity for us to be in Germany where you couldn't get a job. You were Americans living in a foreign country. And so through Mrs. Woodard's program at the Officers Club, we all got, and we made minimum wage $1.75, which we thought was a lot of money.
It was.
Beat babysitting. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. It was such a different and unusual setting for them. They never forgot their friendships. And I came to their last reunion 4 years ago or whatever it was, and they picked right up where they left each other 35 years ago. I mean, it was just amazing to see the same kids. Oh, there you are, I haven't seen you, you know, and things like that. It was really fun to watch them regather and come back to the memories they had as kids. And they really had good memories. It was a good place to raise your kids at that time. It really was.
I have a very strong connection to Heidelberg, and it's mostly the city and not so much the base, and it's definitely mostly the people, because when we're together, we still act like we do when we were 16 years old.
Absolutely.
So, even though we've become adults and are responsible parents, and we can get together and we can still remember what each of us was like at the beginning of our potential, what we possibly could have been, and how goofy we were. So, and we don't change that very much.
Yeah, so here we are in our 50s, we're pretending like we're still teenagers and staying up until all hours of the night.
And needing to take naps the next day.
We all felt like shit this morning.
When we were in Heidelberg, there was a place called the Teen Club where all the teens would gather and dance and meet up and
After we went drinking, we'd go back there.
Right.
So really not a lot has changed. Because now we're drinking and then we'll go back to the teen.
Oh yeah, the after party. Oh yeah, the after party.
At the hotel.
Which these fine gentlemen will be part of that activity later on. That's right. Let's see. We had an after party last night, and I got to tell you, started out with about 80 people, and it got down to 60 people, and 50 people, and 30 people, and 20 people. And at 5:30 this morning, there was 5 of us left. Of that 5, 4 were from the class of 1975. So that kind of defines who set the standard. Class of 75. So yeah, we're all going to go back to the teen club. And we're just going to pick up where we left off. And, I think most of us are running on high adrenaline. I know I am. I've had about 7 Red Bulls today. But, yeah, so we're going to continue this on through the night because we may not see each other again for some time.
Teen club. Yeah, well, that's where we used to hang out. That's a big thing to do, from when you were like, I guess maybe even 8th grade, they'd let you go, and you would go to this place, and they had music and live bands sometimes, and foosball and pool, and you just kind of hang out and visit, and that's kind of what we did. We didn't have any TV. I mean, it's kind of sad, but we did. Not when I was there. In the 70s, there was no, unless you spoke German fluently, to watch German TV. So we spent a lot of time together. We're going to go to the teen club. You bet.
Nobody knows, unless you grew up in a military environment, what it's like to be part of a military family and the closest that you feel. And it's not anything you can tell anybody about, you just have to experience it. And I think the family that we have from Heidelberg, we all have each other's backs and we would do anything for each other.
It's just amazing what can happen, the ties that bind us together. Whether it's an official reunion or just somebody calling somebody else up saying, "Hey, let's go to lunch. Yeah. I'm gonna be in your area.
Yeah.
Let's go have a drink. Let's go whatever."
When you grow up in the military, you move a lot, and I think the one thing we never really said was goodbye, because you never know when you run into anybody again. So I wish we could do this every year, because these kind of friendships last forever.